Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
We have to find the title of the documentary.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the grace.
I got it! I got it! I got it! I got it!
I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. You know what, Lord? This mission will be a difficult one. I've never done anything like that. But if this is what you want, I'm ready. You are the leader of the project. Tell me where to go, who we're gonna talk to, and how we're gonna do it. You lead the way, and I'll follow. And I hope at the end that your love will shine. You can send me. Amen. Amen.
Dear, thank you for accepting to be the messenger and the voice of the unborn. Your mission today is very specific. It consists of genuine and loving education. Tell my mother all you will read in this letter. Do as well as I will require from you. Through you, she will understand that I, her child, has a voice, one that she rarely listens to. Today, in your company, I desire her to listen to me first. Today, I want us to connect in love, she and I. Today, I'd like her to hear my voice. Today, she will learn of her other options. She must know the truth. Thank you for letting me educate my mother. Beloved mother, permit me to address you already as my mom. I know nothing else seems brighter at this very moment. Yet before you decide in hate, I prefer that you avoid the abortion clinic for a moment and join me in a very special place. This place to show you few things beside nurses and doctors and distressed faces. Be not afraid, mother. Welcome to St. Mark's Roman Catholic Church. Come in. Please have a seat, mother. Your concerns, I can feel them and I can hear them with your every heartbeat. Your circumstances for having me you don't feel are right. The timing you don't feel is right. The place you don't feel is right. That is why our messenger has researched the people who one after the other will answer your concerns. Remember, Mother, even Mary had to trust in God in the midst of doubt. Also, Mother, trust in God for the time we will spend together, and open your mind and your heart to the knowledge He will pour into your soul for your sake and my sake. Docteur Casso, quel conseil donneriez-vous aux jeunes femmes et aux jeunes filles qui ont été violées? Par exemple, nous avons le cas de jeunes filles qui nous disent qu'elles ont été violées, voilà pourquoi elles ont choisi de ne pas garder l'enfant. Que diriez-vous à ces jeunes filles?
Le commun des mortels, aujourd'hui, leur dira, mais pourquoi tu ne fais pas simplement l'avortement? Parce que tu ne pourras pas t'occuper de ces enfants. Mais moi, je dirais tout de suite que ça dépend des pays dans lesquels les gens se trouvent. Que ce soit dans les pays développés ou dans les pays en voie de développement, les réponses seront différentes. Parce que dans un pays développé, comme le Canada, l'État couvre les frais d'avortement. L'avortement est accepté officiellement. Mais dans les pays en voie de développement, comme la République du Bénin, les gens continuent de se cacher pour faire l'avortement, et ça peut conduire à la perte de la maman et à la perte de sa vie, comme je le dis, ou bien elle ne fera plus jamais d'enfant dans sa vie. Mais en tant que chrétien catholique de l'Église romaine, ce que je pourrais dire, même si tu rencontres un homme que tu connais ou que tu ne connais pas, qui te dit avorte, la décision te revient. Que tu tombes grosse par viol, la décision te revient toujours d'avorter ou de ne pas avorter. Donc, ce que je vais conseiller à ces jeunes, c'est ne pas avorter. Par amour pour... Le bébé, l'amour qu'il va te transmettre dans ta vie future. Mais il y a plus important que ça. Un enfant, tu peux ne pas connaître son père, mais tu sais que n'importe comment, tu es la mère de l'enfant. Rien ne peut te prendre ça là, que tu es la mère de l'enfant que tu as porté dans ton ventre. Même si une fois que la mère porte l'enfant de son ventre, elle sent une partie d'elle-même partir avec l'enfant. Donc n'importe comment, que ça soit par viol, l'enfant, tu sais que c'est ton enfant et elle t'appellera toujours maman dans la vie.
I fulfilled a dream and traveled to Eastern Europe to volunteer with babies at a clinic for sick children. Two of the children I particularly fell in love with were Christy Daniel and Alina. Christy has Down syndrome. When I arrived at the clinic, he was 1.5 years old and weighed only 14 pounds. Alina has fetal alcohol syndrome, or FAS. At 6 months old, she weighed only 6.5 pounds. Many people would say children like Christy and Alina should have been aborted. But we have to ask ourselves, would we kill them now because of those same disabilities? Should Christy's life be ended because he has Down syndrome? Or Alina's because she has FAS? Would we really say that there is no moral difference between a person going to care for these children versus a person going to kill them? Some people would say that we wouldn't kill them now because they're living human persons, but that prior to birth they didn't exist yet. So that means the central question in any abortion discussion is this: are the unborn human persons like you and me? If we can prove that the unborn are human like the born, then just as we don't kill born humans because of difficult life circumstances, we may not kill the unborn for the same reasons. Now, some may say the abortion debate is more complicated than that we need to look at the individual circumstances a pregnant woman finds herself in, rather than answering the question, are the unborn human? They ask, what about rape? What if a woman's too young? What if she needs to finish her education or advance her career? What if she can't afford her child? In these situations, they say, abortion is okay, even if in other situations it's not. Now, to test the strength of that claim, we have to ask ourselves, would we ever kill a born human being to address those difficult life circumstances? And if we wouldn't, then that means the real question in the abortion debate is, are the unborn human? Take the rape example. Some abortion advocates say that if a woman is conceived as a result of rape, then abortion is justified. Well, consider this. Imagine a woman is raped a day after she's had sex with her husband. In a month's time, when she discovers that she's pregnant, she doesn't know who the child's father is. She hopes it's her husband and carries on with the pregnancy. After the baby is born, a paternity test is conducted. Results come back and reveal the child's father isn't her husband. It's the rapist. As she's holding the baby in her arms, does that mother have a right to kill the newborn child because of his father's crime? Obviously not. So if the unborn are human like the born, we may not kill them either for that reason. But my point can be proven with more than an imaginary scenario. Consider this real-life situation as described in the New York Times in an interview with an abortionist. Dr. Wicklund describes her horror when she aborted the pregnancy of a woman who had been raped, only to discover, by examining the removed tissue, that the pregnancy was further along than she or the woman had thought, and that she had just destroyed an embryo the woman and her husband had conceived together. Dr. Wicklund was horrified. Perhaps you are as well. But if a child conceived in love is human, is not also a child conceived in violence human? And so the real question is, are the unborn human? Now, others may ask, what if a woman is too young to have a child? Well, imagine a 16-year-old is pregnant and doesn't think she's too young. Only once her baby is born does she realize what's involved with parenting, and so she concludes she's too young. May she kill her toddler because she's too young to parent him? If not, then why kill the unborn because the mom is too young? But some may say that my analogy is flawed because an infant is human, whereas a fetus is not. If that's the response, once again, it proves my point that the real question is, are the unborn human beings? Or take the situations of wanting to finish one's education or advance one's career. Would we ever let a woman kill her born child for those reasons? Of course not. Then why permit someone to kill her unborn child for those reasons? Perhaps someone will say, the unborn are mere tissue and a toddler is a person. If so, then again, the real question that must be answered is, are the unborn human beings? What about poverty? Well, there are lots of born people who are poor, but we do not kill them to solve that problem. The problem is poverty, not the poor. And so instead of eliminating the poor person, we should eliminate the poverty itself. The same goes for the unborn. In each of these scenarios, it's clear that the real question in the abortion debate is, are the unborn human? And if so, when did they first come into existence? You know, if I think about it, I didn't know that Christy and Alina existed until I met them. But my meeting them isn't what made them exist. It merely informed me of that. They clearly existed before I met them.
This question will be answered both scientific.
So we've brought the abortion debate down to one question. What are the unborn? So how do we respond to that? Well, let's begin by looking at what the scientific community says about when life begins. According to Moore and Persaud's embryology textbook, Before We Are Born, Essentials of Embryology and Birth Defects, it says the following: human development begins at fertilization. Although human development is usually divided into prenatal, before birth, and postnatal, after birth periods, development is a continuum that begins at fertilization. This is the textbook that is used by medical students studying medicine at the University of British Columbia. Besides considering what embryology textbooks say, we can demonstrate when life begins by drawing the following timeline. Grab a piece of scrap paper and pen and draw a line with the age of the person you're speaking to written on the right. Then say to her, "We know 20 years ago you were born, and that 9 months prior to that, fertilization occurred." At fertilization, a person's DNA is determined. For example, whether you are male or female. Because living things come from other living things, we know that the unborn person is alive. And unlike sperm and egg, which are parts of a being, the zygote at fertilization is a whole being with the inherent capacity to move to the next more mature stage of her development. Finally, because we know that living things reproduce after their own kind, it follows that, in human reproduction, the kind of being in existence at fertilization is human like her parents. Well, that's the basic science of the matter. Why then do so many people say the unborn can be killed for reasons we do not kill the born? Well, what happens is those individuals look at the form and function differences between the unborn and the born, and they state that even though the unborn are of our species, they may be killed because they're different from us. Indeed, the unborn are different from the born, in some ways. The question is, are those differences relevant when it comes to value? All differences between the unborn and the born can be summarized into 4 categories: size, level of development, environment, and dependency. Between fertilization and birth, we see size increasing. The same goes for one's physical and mental development. The unborn change their environment, beginning in the fallopian tube, moving to the uterus, followed by into the doctor's hands. As for their dependency on their moms, that's something that decreases over those first 9 months. Now, there are some who would say that the unborn may be humans, but they aren't persons because of these differences. But look at the time between birth and age 20 and consider what's changed. Those same 4 things have changed. Size continues to increase, as does level of development. Our environment changes all the time, and we increasingly become independent. But after birth, we'd say that while the 4 differences exist, they don't matter when it comes to our value. In other words, our worth is based on our humanity, not our appearance or ability. After all, consider my nephew Francis, who is smaller than my niece Monica. Does that mean Francis may be killed while Monica may not? Of course not. Likewise, an unborn child is smaller than Francis, but that doesn't mean she may be killed. Or take level of development. Monica isn't as developed intellectually as adults are. That was very evident to me when at the age of 1.5, I asked her who her favorite aunt was. This was her reply.
Hey Monica, who's your favorite aunt?
Carrie.
No, that's where your favorite aunt lives. What's the name of your favorite aunt?
Carrie.
She's not developed enough intellectually to know the difference between her aunt living in Calgary and her aunt being Calgary. But nonetheless, she's a valuable human being. Likewise, the unborn aren't as developed to the level Monica is at. But regardless, we would say they too are valuable human beings. As for environment, we don't change what we are when we change where we are. The same with dependency. Our right to live isn't rooted in how independent we are. It's based on what we are. Therefore, those who support abortion need to consider these questions. Do we kill newborns because they're less developed than 20-year-olds? Of course not. Why then would we kill the unborn because they're less developed than newborns? Or do we kill toddlers because they're more dependent than teenagers? Yet again, no. Why then do we kill the unborn because they are more dependent than toddlers? After birth, we'd say that while the 4 differences exist, they don't matter when it comes to our value. In other words, our worth is based on our humanity, not our appearance or ability. Likewise with the unborn, the fact that they are different from us in these 4 ways is irrelevant. They are human, and thus equal to we who are born. Finally, as you look at this timeline, contemplate this. The reason why the unborn are smaller than the born, or why a toddler is less developed than a teenager, is that for the younger one, less time has passed by, and time is reflected in our age. So the question we must ask ourselves is this: do those of us who are older have a right to kill those who are younger? Certainly not in this case, nor when someone is pregnant. To permit abortion is to permit age discrimination, and that must be stopped.
Thank you, Mother, for being with me. It feels like lots of knowledge, but there is still more that I desire you to discover. Now, spiritually speaking, am I a human being? Let me begin with a short story. In 1905, before Padre Pio, now Saint Pio, became famous for his stigmatas, he had an experience with the Virgin Mary. He was still a seminarian at that point. He wrote that experience on a paper that he entrusted to Padre Agostino. He wrote, "Several days ago I had an extraordinary experience. About 11 in the evening of January 18, 1905, Brother Anastasio and I were in the choir. Suddenly I found myself at the same time in the palace of an extremely wealthy family. He was dying just as his daughter was about to be born. Then the Blessed Mother appeared and turning to me said, 'I am entrusting this unborn child to your care and protection. Although she will become a precious jewel, right now she has no form. Shape and polish her. Make her as brilliant as you can, because one day I would like to adorn myself with her.' I replied, 'How can this be possible? I am only a poor seminarian and don't even know whether I will have the joy and good fortune to become a priest. Even if I do, how will I ever be able to take care of this girl, since I will be so far away from here?' The Blessed Mother admonished me, 'Don't doubt me, she will come to you, but first you will find her in the Basilica of St. Peter in Rome.' After that, I found myself back in the choir. Mother Mary called the unborn a child in the story. And furthermore, Mother, this event came to be in 1922. The name of that child was Giovanna Risani. She did come to see Father, just as Our Lady had prophesied. And Padre Pio explained to her the vision that he had witnessed in 1905 as her father was passing away. So for the next 45 years, she visited often Padre Pio as her spiritual director. One day she asked him, "Do you really care for me, Padre?" And he answered to her, "How could I not care for you? You are the firstborn of my heart. Love Jesus and love Our Lady." Am I a human? St. Augustine of Hippo, after his conversion, in the many writings he shared with the Church, under the wisdom given to him by God, explains something beautiful. He says, when there is union between the husband and the wife, the soul of the baby is carried through the sperm of the husband, and the womb of the mother is what shapes the body of the baby. Therefore, I receive my soul through my dad, and I receive my body through you. He goes further in saying, as the soul is the life of the body, so God is the life of the soul. If such is the case, Mother, from the moment I am conceived, again, I'm already living. You and I become one. I'm the flesh of your flesh and the blood of your blood. See the case of Mary and Elizabeth, Mother. At the moment the angel appeared to Mary, he already had a name for the child. At the moment Mary visited Elizabeth, the child within her womb turned out to St. John the Baptist within the womb of Elizabeth, who in turn filled his mom with the Holy Spirit. Mary must have been probably a few weeks pregnant by the time she visited Elizabeth. In both cases, it proves that I am a human being. Mother, at the time the angel appeared to the husband of Elizabeth, he had a name for the child. God, even before we are conceived, not only has a name for us, but he also has a plan for us. And this is the same he did when the angel appeared to Mary. He told her the name of the child and highlighted the plans that God had for Jesus, our Savior. Mother, you may not know me, but the decision, as much as you are being told that it's only about your right, it is also about my right. Because humans have right, and since I'm a human being within your womb, I also have rights at this very point. And Mother, it is not only me that you get to stand for. You get to stand for all the generations that will come after me. It is almost like a principal in a school. He gets to speak and to represent not only himself, but the students, all the teachers, the secretary, all those who are working in the school, the parent. He becomes the voice for all those people. My beloved Mother, at this very point, for not only you, but also for me and for all those who will come